Welcome, and we are live with episode 1 of my brand new streaming show, the Trusted Influencer Show. This show is specifically for basically entrepreneurs, sales professionals, business leaders who want to basically increase their influence, develop their confidence, and be recognized as the leader in their field. So if that's you, then fantastic. You are in the right place. Let me get the microphone, make sure it's nice and close. You are in the right place to develop that confidence and become recognized as the leader. Now, this is designed to be an interactive show. So if you have questions, drop them into the comments box below. I will answer them as we proceed and progress. If you're watching this after the fact, I want you to still drop a comment in. I will come back and monitor the feed and answer questions whenever they appear on there. Now, also, because this is going to be a regular weekly show, I'm still working out going to work out the kinks and exact timing of it, but it's going to be regular. It's going to be a weekly event. It'll run for around sort of potentially between 10 to 20 minutes, depending upon the topic, depending upon guests, etc. But what I want you to do is click on the subscribe button so that you do not miss any future episodes. So make sure you click on that subscribe button so that you can get access to them today. Now, what are we talking about in today's episode? Well, it's the basis foundational topic of how to be confident, and it's more importantly, how to sound confident, because one of the ways you become confident is to constantly do things. But if it's your first time undertaking a speech, a presentation, making calls to clients, putting yourself into that awkward, uncomfortable situation, something you've never done before, how can you be confident as you deliver and develop that process? So, a couple of things we're going to talk about. Again, if you've got any questions, make sure you drop them into the comments box below. I'd love to get your reactions as we progress through this episode. So, a couple of things. Firstly, how you can sound confident. Know what it is you're trying to achieve. When you're having an interaction with a client, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a sales pitch, a presentation, when you're having that interaction, know exactly what it is you want to achieve. What are you hoping to get from that event? If you don't know what that objective is, what you're actually trying to get, then it becomes a lot harder for you to actually feel any level of confidence and expertise around what you're trying to get to, because it just becomes aimless, it becomes waffling. The reality is you need to know exactly what your objective is. Now, that could be as simple as just wanting to communicate information, and that's fine. That is a legitimate exercise. That's a legitimate goal for you to achieve. But it could be something more specific. It could be wanting to get them either to accept the proposal or get them even to just have a follow-up meeting or a follow-up conversation on what you're communicating and what you're sharing with them, whether it's through a presentation or just a phone call. Know exactly what it is you want to achieve. That will help you feel confident. The reason being is that you're the recipient of that communication, whether it's a phone call, presentation. They will know and they will get that sense that you have an objective in mind. People don't want to have their time wasted. So you have got to know first up exactly what it is that your aim for your presentation, for your communication effectively. I mean, I talk an awful lot about speaking and presentations, but the reality is it can be any form of communication, email, phone calls, presentations, you name it. It all means exactly the same thing. The essence of any form of communication is that you've got to know what it is you're trying to achieve with it. If you don't know, your audience, your recipient of that message isn't going to know either. So make sure that you know what you're trying to achieve. That will give you that first step in being able to sound and be that little bit more confident. Coupled with that, you want to be starting to know who it is you're talking to. Now, that's about knowing who your audience member is, who's the recipient of the communication, and identifying what their hot buttons are. Because you need to think about and understand, tying back to your objective, is to know what your hot button topics, your hot button areas that you need to cover for the recipient. So again, if you're joining this conversation, hi Cynthia, it's wonderful to have you on with us live. Again, click subscribe, because as I said, this is going to be a weekly and a regular show, and I don't want you to miss out on future episodes. But as you go through this communication, knowing who you're talking to is crucial. because it will enable you to tailor the right message. It will enable you to ensure that you present the right information. And that's actually the foundation of a lot of people's, I suppose, insecurities and nervousness. So you have got to make sure that you know who your audience is, who's the recipient, and make sure that you can tailor the material accordingly. That will help you develop that right level of confidence. Think about it. If you're talking to senior management, like someone in the C-suite, they're generally interested in numbers. What's this going to cost them? What's the benefit? That's the primary sort of motivators for them. They need to understand from a budgetary and from a goal achievement perspective, or their KPIs, how this can help them. So the better you can tailor your message in that sense, the better. If you're talking to someone who is closer to the coalface, who's more at the worker bee level, if you get my drift, they're not so much interested in numbers. They're interested in how it's going to help them on a day-to-day basis, for example. So you need to think about and tailor your message accordingly. So really think about and study and work out who the recipient of your message is, so that you can ensure that you're tailoring the right material when you communicate with them. Now, another way that you can sound confident, even when you're not, is to speak slowly and speak clearly. The natural tendency for all of us when we are nervous, and we've got that bit of anxiety and, dare I say, a bit of adrenaline running through the system, is that we want to speak fast. We want to get through this whole process, this whole communication exercise really quickly, whether it's a presentation or a phone call. The reality is you want to be more moderated. Slow down your speaking, slow down your rate of the way you deliver the words, so that it comes across more calm and more measured. Simultaneously, you want to make sure that you enunciate and clearly articulate every word, because again, the faster you speak, the more those words tend to collide with one another as they're coming out of your mouth. So by slowing down, you give yourself the opportunity to clearly enunciate, and it just projects and presents an aura of confidence. Inside, your body can be screaming at you to get off and stop this phone call, this presentation, whatever it is. But if you're able to deliver those words slowly, enunciate them clearly, it projects from an audience perspective, from a recipient's perspective, it makes you look so much more calm. It really does present a projection of confidence and an aura of authority. Again, if you've got any questions as we go through this, drop them into the comments box. Love to help them and say this is designed to be an interactive experience, an interactive show. So please don't be afraid to ask questions as we go through. And again, we'll develop this show together over the coming weeks. Coupled with speaking slowly and clearly is make sure that you remove those filler words. One of the biggest giveaways that you are nervous, that you are unsure of what you're doing, is the ums, the ahs, the ers. Make sure that you try and eliminate them. If you can get rid of them completely, fantastic. If you are struggling to get rid of them, hi Ed, great to have you on board. If you are struggling to get rid of those ums and ahs, it's going to show, because when someone is communicating and they're sharing that a message, and it's 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 every second a third word is full of these words. I mean, I know I asked for an interactive show. I just had someone dialing me on my mobile. When I want interaction, I'd love to have it here on live online on Facebook. Donald Trump lives. Yeah, well, I'm not going to comment on that. I'll have the FBI investigating me. But the reality is that you need to be making sure that you eliminate the ums, the ahs, the ers. Another way that you can sound and be more confident is to know the room. This is about getting confident and getting comfortable in the room that you're going to be speaking in, so that if you are talking and you're presenting, it's a very different experience when you are, particularly when you're a nervous speaker, when you stand up and you face a room full of people. If you're looking at that room from that different perspective for the very first time, when there is a series and it's 50 people with their eyes all trained on you, it becomes quite intimidating. That's going to make you feel nervous. If you can just take a couple of minutes before everyone arrives to get into the room and stand where you're going to be delivering the speech, just so that you can look out and you can see what you're going to experience when there are people in the room, you will feel a lot more confident, and it will help you get more comfortable. So that's a really simple technique. Coupled with that, go and, as people arrive, go and meet and greet, shake hands. That will help you develop a real confidence, start to build a rapport, and make you feel more comfortable. It will help you sound more confident because you have, all of a sudden, you're starting to talk to people and present to people and communicate with people that you already know. You've got a level of familiarity. It might not be much, but it's just that little bit makes the world of difference. Another way that you're going to be able to sound far more confident and have a real authority is any presentation, any form of communication that you have is going to have you should have your opinions in there. Your opinions, your thoughts, your ideas. Now, when we are nervous and we're unsure, we tend to, I suppose, water down our comments. We water down our opinions because we don't want to risk offending people. I would actually encourage you to go the other way. Don't be afraid to offend people. Don't be afraid to be definitive. Make big, bold statements out there. So, hi Charles, good to have you on board. Again, I'd love to see you all click the subscribe button so you get notified of future episodes. But make sure that when you are sharing your opinions, you're sharing your ideas, do so very definitively. Don't be wishy-washy. So in other words, take out the maybes or this can. Instead say, this will, and it has been proven to, whatever it is. If you want more help with that, I'd encourage you to go check out the Public Speaking Skills Academy blog, and I'll put a link to a specific article, which is all about 67 words that will help you make your presentations more profitable and more influential. They are 67 words that will help you craft the right message. So as you develop and prepare your message, make sure that you're eliminating those wishy-washy, weak words which are basically starting to diminish your position. Have opinions, have ideas, stand behind them and state them and deliver them confidently and authoritatively. And I've already spoken about, finally, just making sure that you eliminate the ums and ahs. That is actually the big one. That is the big message out of this little episode here, is to say, if you want to sound more confident, if you want people to take you more seriously, you can't stand in front of them or on the phone and deliver a message where you are, I'd like us to go and have a follow-up meeting. It sounds weak. It sounds, and it demonstrates and illustrates that you aren't confident. If you can replace that with just silence, just a simple pause, it will make a world of difference. So I'd like you to think about how you could change that and incorporate the power of silence. There's many benefits of pausing, and I won't go through them in this episode. That's something we'll cover off in a future episode. But if you want, we'll talk about that a bit later. But pausing is the big thing that will help you project confidence, because it will be the one thing that will separate you from everybody else who's communicating with your clients, with your target market. So again, I'd encourage you to subscribe to the video, because this is going to be a weekly show that we will pull together. I'm happy to take ideas, topics, anything that you want me to cover, drop them into the comments box below, and we will cover off and talk about areas that will help you become more influential, help you as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, as a sales professional, improve and increase your results so that you become recognized as the leader and you earn the income that's associated with being the leader in your field. So again, click on subscribe, and I will sign off now unless there are any final questions, any final comments, and we will wrap up this episode here of the very first episode of the Trusted Influencer Show. We're going to have, these are going to be a weekly event. So come along, subscribe, and we will have some awesome fun every single week. Look forward to delivering episode 2 next week.